Hey y'all, welcome to The Range. I'm Jeremy with Black Collar Arms, and today we're going to do an overview of the Texas Typewriter. This modern, highly modular 22 long rifle firearm is brand new from Black Collar Arms, and it is tapped into the Ruger 1022 ecosystem. And what I mean by that is it uses 1022 barrels, magazines, triggers, bolts, and recoil assemblies. The rest of it is all Black Collar Arms. And this overview video, I'm going to show you why. All right, let's start at the beginning, y'all. What is the Texas Typewriter? This is not a stock for a 1022. This is not a chassis for a 1022. The Texas Typewriter is its own firearm. If I put this complete rifle down and pick this up here, you can see this is the receiver of the Texas Typewriter. This is the serialized part of the firearm. Now, what we have done in effect is 1022 is a receiver and a stock. They're bolted together with one tiny little bolt at the front. A lot of that causes flexing. If you grab a 1022 and you kind of squeeze it at the back, you'll notice the whole barreled action often wobbles inside of the stock or the chassis. And we set out to eliminate that by making a monolithic receiver that effectively merges receiver or action and stock or chassis into one unit. So this is lighter, this is stiffer, this is more precise, more modern, and certainly more efficient as well. What we've done on top of this is make it as modular as humanly possible. So we will have multiple different versions of the top rail. This one on the left side has a blanking plate, but future versions of the Texas Typewriter will have ambidextrous charging. In the beginning, we're shipping it blanked with right side charging. It'll use any factory or aftermarket 1022 compatible charging handle. At the rear of the Texas Typewriter is a rear module. This holds your AR-15 compatible pistol grip right there, and it slides up and bolts onto the back of the Texas Typewriter. This one is a Picatinny rail. As you see on this complete rifle, we have our carbine stock attached to the Picatinny rail, but needless to say, anything that attaches to a pick rail can be attached to this pick rail rear module. So if you're going to build a pistol, you can do an FS 1913 pistol brace, for example, or we are going to have some different rear modules. Coming very soon is AR-15 buffer tube if you want to use your favorite AR-15 stock on there. After that, or about the same time, we will have an AK-47 folding stock adapter. We will also be doing a very flush, minimalist, small version with just a QD socket on the rear if you want to build an actual, like, hold it with one hand style handgun out of your Texas Typewriter. Let's say you do a 4-inch barrel, nothing on the rear. This would work as a handgun. So pistols with a brace, rifles, SBR, all available on here. And then in front, as you can see here on a 16-inch barrel rifle, we have a 6-slot handguard, but we also have 4-slot handguards. We have coming out a 2-slot handguard if you want to do a super shorty build, and our far ends are coming back. Our forward accessory rod, that's far end, M-lock slots all around. That is a 2-slot for a super shorty minimalist build, but we will also have up to a 6-slot far end. So all of these options, of course, bolt onto a little Picatinny rail on the front of the Texas Typewriter, and it's the same handguards that go onto our pork sword. So lots of different options, super modular setup, as I said, between different top rails, rear modules, and forward accessories. I may have forgotten to mention on the top rail thing too, we won't just have a full-length Picatinny rail. There will be top rails with red dot mounts built in. So you can take, for instance, this Zero-Tech Prism, it has its own mounting system on it, right? But with the top rail, we could have that integrated, and you can just screw your red dot, like an RMR or this sort of a setup, directly onto an otherwise super clean rail. We can do ones that take rear sights, like a ghost ring rear sight. Lots of future options available for that. Because of this extreme modularity, the Texas Typewriter will be available as a build kit, which is just the bare necessities to have a functional firearm. The receiver itself, a top rail, and a rear module. Since all of the internals are 1022 compatible, you can choose the 1022 footprint trigger, bolt, charging handle that you want, and the 1022 footprint barrel that you want, or that you already own, and build it out in the Texas Typewriter. The advantage, of course, is having that monolithic receiver that's super stiff and super light, so you can get into a complete rifle like this bad boy that weighs about 4 pounds on the nose, which is crazy. Now, if you still want to put it together at home, but you need more than just the bare minimum, you can go ahead through that builder and get yourself the internals necessary, like 8 different barrel options, different rear accessories, and really get a whole kit delivered to you that you can then assemble at home. Another interesting aspect of this modular removable top rail is it opens up multiple ways to disassemble your Texas Typewriter. That is one of the things about the traditional 1022 receivers that has always been annoying, is actually getting that bolt out to clean the thing. In the case of the Texas Typewriter, you can remove the top rail with 4 screws and then simply take the bolt out the top. Way easier than taking everything apart, taking that recoil stop out the back, disassembling. Or on the Texas Typewriter, you can remove the 4 screws that hold the trigger pack into the receiver, drop the trigger pack out the bottom, and then you can take the bolt out the bottom like you do on a traditional 1022. So that's for people who really do not want to remove their top rail. That said, this top rail has a bunch of lug areas and other indexing spaces, as well as 2 pins and this little lug on the rear that index it very precisely. So if you remove this, keep your optic on it, put it back on, the return to zero is absolutely fantastic. On the bottom of the optic rail is a guide rod for the bolt, and there's also that catch on the back that holds the rear of your recoil spring. So I can easily just take these parts right out the top, and we have full access to the inside to run a bore snake down the bore for cleaning, clean out our trigger, all that good stuff. One other small but important feature that I should mention on the Texas Typewriter is our bolt stop back here. We use a threaded standoff. There's a screw that goes into each side of the threaded standoff. It'll be black on the production ones. We just ordered some for testing here that are silver. The difference we've made here over your traditional 1022 bolt stop is that it is extremely well supported all across the rear of the bolt stop. On a 1022, on a high mileage 1022, you may notice that where that steel pin is that acts as the bolt stop, the holes for it start to get ovaled out. On the back of those holes, they peen and they get hogged out over time. It actually damages the aluminum receiver. In the case of the Texas Typewriter, that isn't going to happen because we have so much support on the bolt stop. In fact, enough that this bolt stop is plastic, which makes it much quieter when you're shooting than having that bolt hitting a steel pin. We also have aluminum standoffs, brass standoffs, and there's one more system that we're going to have as a bolt stop that'll be even softer and quieter, especially for you guys who are shooting suppressed, which you should. Reassembly is super easy, although I don't know if I can do it standing up kind of in the air here, but you just put the guide rod down onto the optic rail with the end on that stop there, set the bolt on top, and now set it into the firearm. It is so simple. Again, standing up, you got to pull the bolt back just slightly, but let's see if I can make that happen. Boom, that's it, we're done. 4 screws and you are back in business. It is a million times easier than any typical 1022 format receiver. Okay, while I'm getting this thing back together to go shooting, I had a thought. That rear module that takes the AK-47 folding stock, should that thing take AR-15 grips like the other ones? Or should it take an AK-47 grip? Let us know in the comments. What do you say we shoot the thing? Okay, y'all, that is the Black Collar Arms Texas Typewriter. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. We'll try our best to keep on top of that. Of course, you can find out more information about it on our website. And now that the temperature is finally, I think, getting into the 50s, this freezing cold Texas boy is going home. Please give us a like and a subscribe. Check out the Texas Typewriter, and we'll see y'all next time.